What other deals could be in play now if this one is in play? Now, keep in mind, it is unusual for the acquiree here to be trading south of its offer. That is a sign that Wall Street increasingly doubts this can come together. And the principals behind this, Randall Stephenson of AT&T and Jeffrey Bewkes of Time Warner, did little to assuage them otherwise. Again, they have not decided to appear in this network. These are the same questions I would raise with them, but I understand Dora the Explorer did. So we'll keep you posted on that. But in the meantime, former BuzzFeed President Jon Steinberg, on what he makes of this and who else is in play. John, I'm just having fun poking fun of this, but in all seriousness, do you see other content players now getting more attention than they were last week at this time?
Well, absolutely. And first of all, Neil, I think this deal is definitely getting put through. What's different between this deal and historic deals is it's a vertical integration. You know, remember when Comcast tried to acquire Time Warner Cable, you had two cable companies. In this case, you've got a distribution company in AT&T, and Time Warner is a content company. So there's almost no case for this to be blocked.
You're great at this and have got a fortune mastering this, but Bernie Sanders said this deal would mean higher prices, fewer choices for the American people. Donald Trump, the other side of the ledger, puts too much concentration of power in the hands of too few. Then Tim Kaine, the vice presidential Democratic runner-mate, pre-competition, less dissension. I think that is generally helpful, especially in the media. Now, again, all reads from all parties, all anxious about this. What do you make of that?
Well, there's no basis in fact for what they're actually saying. When you look at Comcast's acquisition of NBC Universal, part of the agreement with the government was that NBC would sell its programming at equal rates to all the other carriers as well. And no doubt the same requirement will be put on Time Warner. The only difference here is that maybe the stock is trading at such a discount because investors are concerned about exactly what they will have to give up, what they will have to agree to. That, to me, is the only rationale. This couldn't possibly be struck down. There'd be no basis. That it'd be okay for NBC and Comcast, but not okay for these two companies?
Well, if you think about it, though, and some of the regrets some had about the NBC and Comcast deal, that it seemed that Comcast didn't own up to its part of the bargain. I don't know if that's the case here, but that after all of that scrutiny and time, that Comcast didn't live up to what it was supposed to do. Is that true?
No, I don't think it's true. And you know, in disclosure, Comcast Ventures is an investor in my company. Right. But with that said, there's been almost no synergies between the two companies. If anything, the people that say that NBC Universal is doing well because of Comcast, there's no evidence it wouldn't have done exactly the same in the absence of that. In fact, my knock on this deal is there's very limited synergies. Effectively, the only reason why AT&T is doing this is because they lost 268,000 wireless subscribers in the past quarter. They're not growing, and they need to buy inorganic growth at this point, and they need to hedge themselves against the fact that wireless is no longer a growth market. It's basically just a conglomeration of two companies in vaguely related fields.
Yeah, and then there's the issue of debt, whether, you know, AT&T is taking on too much.
The highest debt-leading company, you know, probably in the United States after this deal is all said and done, with debt service of $9 billion a year. Would
a regulator take that into the decision-making process? In other words, fearing that the acquirer ends up being in a world of financial hurt, and then both companies are hurt?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that you could put a lot of restrictions on them, and you know, look, the market thinks this deal is not going to happen, or the market thinks the deal is a 20% discount on it right now. So maybe people are feeling that the combined company will be so weakened, or that they will have to sell off assets, or they will have to, you know, agree to certain consent decrees. But the idea of the deal just not happening, I think it'd be very hard for the government to say, even with the misgivings about NBC and Comcast, the second time around we're not going to let it happen.
All right. Finally, your sense about the timing of all of this. Many have referred to the fact that, you know, borrowing on the cheap, now's the time to do it because rates are going up. There'll be a switch in administrations, whether it's Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton. You're dealing with two new Justice Departments. You're dealing with a new FTC, a new FCC. You know the whole drill. And that now is better than later. What do you make of that?
I think the bigger issue is that the world is undergoing, you know, massive change right now with all the over-the-top skinny bundles, with the viewership declining by single-digit percentages, with newspaper advertising revenue going off of a cliff. The world is changing dramatically, and these companies recognize that if they don't position themselves very, very quickly, you know, they're going to be trying to catch a falling knife. So to me, rather than the low interest rates, the bigger issue is that, you know, that Bewkes realizes that these cable networks are increasingly worth less, and AT&T recognizes the fact that they can't grow the wireless subscribers. So that's the force.
All right. We'll watch it closely. Jon Steinberg, thank you, former BuzzFeed President.
Thank you, I appreciate it.